Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to the Early Edge. We've got another great show for you today. And of course, we're sponsored by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Well, some legendary things are happening in this Early Edge family. I'll get to that in just a second, but let's get to the recap screen as I say hello to Aaron Bailey and Josh Davis and Liddy and Joshua Martin. We go 7-3 on the recap screen. We'll certainly take that every time. Buckets again predictably goes 2-0. Martin Green 2-0. 1-1-1 for Adam Thompson. SportsLine picks go 1-2. Shout out to EC there. And Amags goes 1-2 as well with an even money hit. Speaking of hits, let's bring in the stars of the show because I am honestly exasperated with what's going on with the World Cup. We've got a great crew. Our Wednesday crew was always great. We got Calvin Wetzel. I think we've got Buckets. We got Mike McClure. We got Matt Snyder. We got all of you in the chat. But I have to start with Buckets. Buckets. Two things. I know you have to leave us in about 10 minutes or less because you got to go on to Galazzo Network. They're going to celebrate you there. They're going to receive some picks over there. But can I just read something, Buckets, real quick? Do you mind?
If you know how to read, go for it, man. I'm not.
Well, it's on your profile, so I'm stealing this from your profile.
Yikes. Yeah.
Now, I won't get to the beginning part. Hopefully everybody follows Buckets at Bucket John Betts. But France versus Senegal yesterday. Now, we know you won all your picks, but you also predicted some scores. France versus Senegal, you predicted 3-1. It was 3-1. Iraq versus Norway, you predicted 4-1. It was 4-1. Argentina versus Algeria, you predicted 3-0. It was 3-0. And then finally, the only other game, Austria versus Jordan, you predicted 3-1. And everybody out there listening, guess what? They won 3-1. You are hitting all the regular bets. You're hitting all the prop bets. I got to give you the floor. How does this feel, Buckets? Because I can tell you by looking at the chat, everybody is loving this.
The honest answer is it makes me very anxious. Obviously, I'm happy to celebrate the wins. I love that people are cashing. People were tweeting me correct score tickets they placed all day long. That's a great feeling. But we've kind of messed up now because that bar is set impossibly high, and I don't want people to expect me to continue to hit score predictions. As always, like anyone on the Early Edge crew, we're going to do our best to win you or to bring you winning bets. But just remember days like yesterday when we have days like inevitably that are going to come where we don't do that anymore. So just keep a level head, and we'll keep grinding for you guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't keep a level head. I'm so distracted by what's going on with you that not only have I not said hi to Matt, Brad, Calvin, and Mike McClure, but I haven't given out the SportsLine picks like we've been doing the last few days. So let's go ahead and do that. Ben, my apologies. World Cup, we've got one already here. Martin Green says Portugal -1.5 at -109. And prop bet guy Otani is on the mound. Over 5.5 Ks, -148. Again, that's from Prop Bet Guy. These picks over at SportsLine. If you're not a member, go to sportsline.com/join. All right, let's bring the guys back. Those are two picks for us. And, Mike, I want to start with you because I know you've got golf today, but you've got something else as well, correct?
Golf and they're both golf, Sia.
Two golf.
Yeah, one of them's a make the cut parlay. I know people like those at major events. It is not the make the cut donkey. I will share that in the Discord later tonight. But it is a play that should be treated more like a full unit play, which is why I brought it here. We'll start with the full play, though. That's going to be Chris Gotterup. I'm looking at Chris Gotterup here. I'm going to play top 30, including ties, -108. Unfortunately, his his finishing position is not offered on an individual number. They've offered maybe 40, 50 golfers in the field. They have not selected to offer one for him. So I will be playing the top 30, including ties. Chris Gotterup is someone I want to back in tough fields like this. I've been extremely impressed with him overall. We had a spot where he kind of flashed and had a few good tournaments. Everyone kind of wondered, was it just a good little run or was it sticky? I know you and I, Sia, we both have talked about him at length. I think that it is extremely sticky, and I think he's completely here to stay. I like the setup, though. I think he's sneaky good in terms of some of the par 4 scoring that's going to be needed here. I really, really like this spot for him. I have him firmly inside my top 10 this week. We'll be playing him outright as well. But my favorite way to play him is going to be the top 30, including ties, or if that finishing position gets populated, I would expect it to be around 38 to 40. I would certainly be going hard at the under on that particular number. I think it should be at least 35. So if you've got a round score, or if you've got a finishing position under on Gotterup, which I do not yet, that's where I would be. And then the second play is going to be a make the cut parlay, a guy we haven't talked a lot about recently, at least I haven't. This is going to be Bryson DeChambeau. He's carrying all of this here. We talk about Ludwig all the time. Bryson's number to make the cut, I think, is extremely playable. I will concede that Bryson has not been the Bryson that we really come to know at major championships. I think he turns it around a little bit here, but I just simply like these two to make the cut. This is over at FanDuel. This number is minus 125 to minus 130 elsewhere. That you can see essentially why the value is where it is there. I don't expect this number to last. So if you've got the option to play it, I would parlay these two together. I don't need to tell you that I think Ludwig is great. I think the ball striking will be fine here. This one is really propped up by Bryson and his number to make the cut.
All right, we got 2 golf picks there from Mike McClure. Now, Buckets, I know you need to leave soon, but before we get to your picks, I just want to say hi to the rest of the crew here. Sniper, are you happy for Buckets? I know sometimes he gets on our nerves a little bit. Your thoughts?
Like I typed in the chat, that screen right there from earlier, that's one of the most ridiculous things we've ever had on Early Edge. Great job, man.
It might be the most ridiculous. Brad Thomas, I got to give you some props too, because last time you were on the show, you had a losing day. But over on SportsLine, your write-ups, the picks you're putting again on sportsline.com, 8-0, correct?
8-0, man. It's been absolutely incredible. Yeah, I feel like all momentum shift, right? The SportsLine, money line, and spreads have been great. And then yesterday we had a banging day on all the shows and in the Discord. So that momentum is back up again, just like it was in the first couple days.
The Discord is hot right now for sure across all sports. Calvin, speaking of hot, you came on this show 2 days ago. You gave out the Dallas Wings plus 2.5 against the vaunted Las Vegas Aces. And I can't remember. I don't know that I can count that high in terms of the differential. Didn't Dallas win by like 30 points?
They did win by 30. I should have been hitting those alt spreads and maybe getting a little plus 1,000 action like Buckets over there, but I'll take the win on the plus 2.5.
You can't predict the score exactly correct. Calvin, that's super weak. All right, let's go back to Buckets because, again, Buckets, I know you have to leave us. Bring on the soccer questions, though, because if Buckets is not here, obviously Brad Thomas can answer those. We got a lot of picks to get through. We just got through Mike's. Buckets, you got a couple more picks for us today.
We are keeping the exact same theme that we are going to continue to keep throughout the entire World Cup. My 2 favorite bets, nothing more, nothing less. And we're starting with the matchup between Uzbekistan taking on Colombia. Now, Colombia are a sleeper for a lot of people to make a very deep run in this tournament. This is an incredibly well put together team with good depth that is used to the heat and the humidity and then have a couple star players to really carry their squad. And I'm betting on their number 1 star, Luis Lucho Diaz, to score or assist at minus 120. It's a little bit of juice here. But if you follow me, if you follow the Bundesliga, if you follow Bayern Munich, you know exactly why we are taking this bet. He was an absolute menace for my beloved Bayern Munich, picking up 45 goal contributions over 51 games in the Bundesliga. Yes, he had Harry Kane. Yes, he had Michael Olise. But the way he plays for Bayern Munich is the same way he plays for his country. I expect him not only to have a big game here, but a big tournament over the next 6 weeks. And then bet number 2 is a bit of a scary one because I'm trusting a team that I rarely trust. I'm looking at the matchup between England taking on Croatia. This England side, full disclosure, has burnt me time and time and time again. They possess such incredible attacking talent, but they won't attack the damn ball. But I'm going to trust them because more important than trusting England, I don't trust this Croatia side. They are a shell of the team they used to be. They have been incredible, a staple of football heritage for so long. But this team's getting old, and they're struggling to keep clean sheets, and they're struggling to play defense. We saw them concede in all 4 of their friendlies, and in their last 2 World Cup qualifiers, they conceded to Faroe Islands and Montenegro. I do not think they're good enough to stop England from scoring, even if England decides to play Tuchel ball. I'm looking at a 2-0, maybe a 2-1 kind of matchup there.
All right, we've got one question we can get to for you, Buckets, and then I know you have to bounce. Marcel Petway says, Buckets, Buckets, Buckets. Harry Kane, I think I'm pronouncing this next one right, Bruno Fernandes. I think that's how.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, I've been listening. And Luis Diaz, who you just talked about, score and assist. Right, I assume that's score or assist. Money line for their teams is plus 1,500.
So yesterday there was a very chalky bet that everyone gave out that was Mbappe to score, Messi to score, Haaland to score, and people are like, sometimes the chalk is obvious, and all of those guys scored 2+ goals. So this is just today's version of that. I don't hate it, and at plus 1,500, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fun on this.
All right, and one more before I let you go. Portugal, Colombia money line played at minus 127 last night, says Capper Taylor. He says it's around minus 130 now. Do you like that parlay? I assume that's a parlay on the money line.
That's a parlay. That's a very guru parlay. If Guru was on the show today, he would have given out that exact same bet. So Capper Taylor, you're sharp as always. I like to look.
All right. Buckets, you have to bounce now. You had to go on Galazzo, right?
Appreciate you guys. Good seeing you.
Mike, go ahead.
I just want to know how many he won in a row, and that will be the number for the dice roll. We'll just call it that.
Yeah.
It's yesterday across all bets we went 13-1, so 13 would be our number.
Nice.
Well, I like math. We'll go 12. 13 minus 1. We'll go 12 as your dice roll. We'll figure that out.
Love it.
See you,
Thanks,
Buckets.
guys.
All right, Mike, figure that out for us. And Brad, if you don't mind, a couple of those questions you probably had responses to as well. The money line parlay and the to score or assist parlay as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like the score assist parlay. Buckets put the hammer on the nail, whatever the saying is. I just think there's going to be a ton of chalk again today. We had the weird day, right, where there was a bunch of draws, a bunch of lower scoring games. That's out of the way, and there's some really like uneven matchups. Colombia in one against Uzbekistan, and then Portugal against Congo. Those are just uneven, and you're getting a really good price. I think Portugal covers, and I also think Colombia covers as well. If you want to get a little more juice out of that, like should be around plus 215 between 240, something like that.
I think it's hit the nail on the head. Is that what we were searching for?
So there's no hammer. Yeah, hit the nail on the head.
I mean, hammer makes just as much sense. I think that should be. What's your favorite? Put it in the chat. What's your favorite phrase that's like overused or underused or an idiom or whatever the case may? Put that in the chat or put it in the YouTube comments. All right, we will move along. Obviously, Brad, you've got actual official plays as well. We got to get to Sniper, but Calvin, I want to get to you next. We've got a pretty gigantic WNBA slate tonight, correct? So I'm sure there's going to be some questions. In fact, I already see one regarding Chelsea Gray over 2.5 threes at plus 151. But you've got a play as well, a prop.
Yeah, I can come back to that Chelsea Gray line, but I have another prop for the Liberty. Sabrina Ionescu over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And this is all about minutes for me. Each of the last 4 seasons, she's averaged 28 PRA. So this line is crazy low for her if she's playing full minutes. The only reason it's this low is because she is allegedly on a minutes limit and she's playing her 3rd game of the season due to injury. But in one game, her minutes limit was 25. She ended up playing 31. And in the other game, her minutes limit was 20 and she ended up playing 26. So I think they're willing to let her go a little bit longer than they say they are. I don't fully trust the numbers that they're putting out there, the coaching staff in terms of the minutes limit. And she got 26 in her last game 3 days ago, and now she's on 3 days rest. So I have to assume she's over 26 today. I think she gets to 30 today. And if you look at the last 2 seasons, when she gets to 30 minutes, she's over this in 55 of 68 games, 81%. So this is really just about her playing probably not full minutes, but at least close enough to clear this extremely low line. And even with a 1 minute increase from that last game, just going up to 27 minutes, I would still have her at 23.5 at her rate. So this would still be a little bit too low at 22.5. But realistically, I think she's getting to 29 or 30 minutes and getting to at least the mid 20s. The Sky also just aren't very good at defense. They're the 2nd fastest paced team in the league. So they allow a lot of stats across the board. They allow the most rebounds in the league. So it's a good matchup for her. And you could really take any of her stats individually. You could take her over points, over rebounds, over assists, any of the combos. But since I think they're all good and I think she's going to play a lot of minutes, I like just putting them all together and taking the over 22.5 PRA.
All right, Sabrina Ionescu over 22.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 117. Any thoughts on Chelsea Gray?
Yeah, at plus 150, I don't hate that. That's definitely one of those that I wouldn't take it like if you were getting anywhere close to regular juice, but she has been shooting more lately. And this is a matchup that they really need to win since the Aces lost that game we talked about by 30 the other day. Now they have to win tonight to get into the Commissioner's Cup. So I do think she's going to have the ball in her hands a lot and be firing.
All right. Mike, do we know who number 12 is on the 13 minus 1?
So we do in a way. It's Patrick Cantlay. Now, I don't know exactly. I don't think Buckets even knows exactly what he does in terms of like excluding people, right? So
yeah,
it's Patrick Cantlay as of now.
All right. So. Okay, very interesting. Brad, how do you feel about Patrick Cantlay this week?
I mean, he's going to be playing out of the fairway, right? Like that's step number 1. I feel like Patrick Cantlay is always a fun guy because you can count on him to be that 18 to maybe T8 range consistently. And then when he has the upside, he flirts with that T5 and T4. I think his floor is a lot higher than most golfers too.
That's for sure in terms of the floor, for sure. And if you want to bet him as an outright, ladies and gentlemen, you can do that. And if he finishes in second place, you get your money back only at BetMGM. Ladies and gentlemen, BetMGM players will be eligible to receive their stake back in cash as a second chance refund on any pre-tournament straight or tournament winner wagers. If the player you bet on does not win the tournament but finishes in second place, you get your money back. This promotion will be available pre-tournament for all applicable golf events on Mondays through Wednesdays. So today would be the last day for you to do that for the U.S. Open. All right, we got a lot more to get to. Sniper, you're next with some baseball picks right after this message from our partners. If you know me, you know that I'm very particular about my clothing. I need premium fabrics that never go out of style, and I need it all to fit just right. That's where Son of a Tailor comes in. Son of a Tailor is made to measure, which means shirts like this high-neck t-shirt are made with my exact measurements. Son of a Tailor features breathable premium fabrics that hold up over time with a variety of different thickness, collars, and styles. Those styles include short sleeves, long sleeves, crew neck, high neck, and some of my favorite polos. Whether you're out at the hot new lounge, Sunday brunch, or a neighborhood stroll, Son of a Tailor has the comfort and style that you can showcase just about anywhere. You can buy now at sonofatailor.com. That's sonofatailor.com. I always love reading the comments during the live video reads because you just never know what you're going to get. I appreciate all the comments, even if they're negative, but I think they're all pretty positive for Son of a Tailor. So let's go to the Sniper. You've got two props for us today.
Yes, I do. I'm going to start with a fellow Hoosier, one who's a little bit better than me at baseball, I must admit. His name is Kyle Schwarber. Going to go 3+ hits, runs, RBIs here. A lot of familiarity with Sandy Alcantara. He's seen him a lot of times in his career, obviously, with being in the same division there. In his last 6 games, Schwarber's 9 for 22 with 2 home runs and a 1,200 OPS. He's an absolute monster in Citizens Bank Park. 35 games at home this year. He has 15 home runs with a 672 slugging percentage. And I wanted to point out, he's up to 365 career home runs. He's on pace for over 60 this year. You can kind of start to see a run up 500 home runs here. I asked him about it last year at the All-Star break, so I've been eyeing this for a little bit, obviously with some bias. But if he gets to 500 home runs, he's got to be a Hall of Famer, right? You can tell me about it in the chat and tell me how much you don't think he is for whatever reason. Another guy who might be polarizing, I'm going to go with Pete Crow Armstrong, over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I know, everybody. He sucks. He can't hit. For a guy who can't hit, in his last 16 games, he'd be hitting .435 with a 913 slugging percentage. Going back to the middle of April, last 58 games, 298 average, 567 slugging percentage. Pretty good for a guy who can't hit. He's the entire Cubs offense right now. In his last 16 games, 30 hits, 12 RBIs, 13 runs, which means he's averaging just about 3.5 per on this prop, and we just need over 2.5 here. I also have some possible additions to home run plays. Schwarber and PCA I like for home runs. But do we have the home run chart? We're going to do that later.
We do have the home run chart. We're going to do that in a few minutes. Let me good call out there. Katie Taylor appears, I don't know if she's supporting, because I always want Katie Taylor to support our picks because she's so sharp. In her last pick, our SportsLine pick, which we'll bring back tomorrow as well, every Thursday, but she appears to like PCA, or at least she's saying PCA. So maybe that's not an endorsement. Maybe she just likes him. But I got to get to my pick. And then Mike McClure, I want to ask you about something, because there was someone in the chat that asked about Scotty Scheffler actually betting him this week and playing the narrative. It is Father's Day on Sunday. It's also his birthday on Sunday. So if you want to take a walk down Narrative Street, Scotty Scheffler is there for you. Now, he referenced plus 445. I know there's plus 550s out there. So, Mike, I'm going to ask you about that. But meanwhile, I'm going to give out a golf play I gave out on the early wedge. Top Korean. We're going to go with Siwoo Kim at minus 132 over Tom Kim and Sung Jae Im. This is just a case of me. I'm not usually a Siwoo Kim guy in terms of I don't really bet him as an outright. I don't think he's going to win this tournament. But the ball striking and short game have been really good for Siwoo Kim. The putter appears to be in pretty good shape. That's usually his issue. But what we know about him is he's probably going to stay out of trouble, especially relative to Tom Kim and Sung Jae Im, who just haven't been that good this year. Now, Tom Kim starting to make a little bit of a comeback, Sung Jae Im as well. But if you look at their metrics, they're kind of all over the board, and that's actually playing out with their finishing position. So I actually think this is effectively a 3-ball, obviously, but I actually think this is a pretty good number. I don't think it's a great number, by the way. I mean, but I will say a lot of books have this at -150, -160. DK still has it at -132. And again, I do think that's a good number given the course conditions, given the course fit, and given how Siwoo Kim has played with respect to his recent form. So give me Siwoo Kim as top Korean. Mike McClure, real quick question on Scotty Scheffler that I referenced. Also, your one and done pick this week.
Yeah, so Scotty, all the narratives, all the storylines you want to talk about, right? Father's Day, the birthday, his first opportunity at completing the career Grand Slam here.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there are so many storylines. Pick one. He's the best golfer in the world still. I think there's no doubt about that. I think my favorite thing to talk about, Sia, is Scotty. What's wrong with Scotty? Is Scotty having a down year? The guy has teed up 25 times in golf tournaments this year. He has finished in the top 25 in all of them. Like however many times he's played, he's finished top 25 in every single tournament that he has played. We're not talking about someone who had a single miscut here, anything, right? So he's right there and has continued to be right there. So I like Scotty. I will continue to say, though, if you want to bet Scotty, I would prefer to do it live. I think his true odds should be closer to 8-1. I would much rather bet Scotty closer to even money after the second round when he's one shot back. I'd rather have more information at that particular point. So I won't bet Scotty pre-tournament, but absolutely will be watching and looking to live bet him.
All right. Brad, you might have something to say about golf. In fact, one of your picks relates to Xander Schauffele, but if you wouldn't mind kicking us off with some soccer picks, as I see a lot of questions in the chat related to which we are going to get to later in the show. Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go with the first one. And this kind of correlates to one of the questions we asked. What about Cristiano Ronaldo? Portugal versus DR Congo. And I'm taking Cristiano Ronaldo to score, right? Like the metrics behind Ronaldo this season in a down season were still really good, right? Averaging 0.97 goals per 90 with an expected goal mark of 0.92. And a lot of people say Ronaldo is just Pinaldo. He relies heavily on the penalties to rack up his goal count. Well, it's true partly, but I think it's a little overblown. He still averaged 0.75 expected goals without penalties. So that's non-penalty XG, which means he's still expected to score almost a goal per contest. And I think against DR Congo, who's going to be sitting really, really deep, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him to rip at the top of the box, and not to mention the balls that are going to be sent in for him to try to get his head on. There's no way Ronaldo's not scoring after watching his arch nemesis Messi score 3 last night.
All right, so we've got Portugal versus Congo, Ronaldo, anytime goal scorer. You've got another soccer pick as well.
I do. Yeah. Uzbekistan versus Colombia. And Colombia was the dark horse that I've given out on the show at 40-1. And it all starts today. This defense that they have, the defensive unit, is absolutely elite. And why I say elite is because they use size and strength, right? And to kind of marry that middle of the defense, they have 2 wingers who also track back and work really hard, right? Daniel Munoz, one of my favorite wingers, wingbacks, in all of football. They're playing against a Uzbekistan side who aren't known for quick pace, right? They're not known for great transition. They are methodical, but they're also quite slow and they struggle to score. Listen, they got shut out by Canada. They got shut out by Venezuela. They got shut out by Iran. These are not teams with these massive defensive records. How are they going to score against Colombia? And, you can take Colombia to win and keep a clean sheet, but I just want to keep it simple and take under 2.5 goals because Colombia are the type of squad, while they like to flex their muscle, they do not run it up. They're very pragmatic in their approach. Once they score the goal and they take the lead, they typically just take what the game brings to them, which means they have a nice little kickabout. They don't overexert themselves, and they definitely do not open up. So I can see this being a 2-0 win for Colombia. So the under 2.5 has a ton of value, just in case we get one of those classic 0-0s like we got in Spain versus Cape Verde.
And then finally, you've got to play on what I've learned through the chat is Mike's one and done pick, Xander Schauffele.
Oh, Sia, dude, listen, I set a calendar reminder like 2 months ago, because I did not want to forget to take Xander Schauffele top 20 in this tournament. All I wanted was minus 130 or better. And he initially came out on most major books around minus 125. And then he started as the first line books. And then he started to come out on the rest of the books at minus 110 with ties. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Xander Schauffele since 2022 has only finished outside the top 21 time, and that was at Quail Hollow. And it wasn't because of the driver. I think it was because of the irons, right? He had a really poor showing on approach, but he did have some funky approaches where he'd hit some in the water, right? Like it wasn't the Xander that we know and love. Xander is Mr. Clutch when it comes to majors. He's just a totally different player. And what I love about Xander is he has the complete game, right? If you look at his numbers, there's not one aspect of his game that's just like carrying the rest of his game. He's really good everywhere. And then when he has those special performances where he goes on to win, it's normally the approach play that carries it and it makes it boost. And I think at this golf course, you're going to need strong approach play because these greens are going to be tricky. They're not going to hold a lot of balls. So you're going to have your complete game with the approach being the spike.
All right, let's follow up. We've got a lot of questions in the chat across the board. Let me get you one soccer question for now, Brad, before we move on to some MLB questions. How do you feel? This is from Marcel Petway. How do you feel about Columbia team shots on target 6+ at minus 115?
Yeah, I had it around. I actually looked at this market a little bit. I had it around 6.5. I tried to kind of shape it out where the shots on target are coming. I like it, don't love it. The reason I don't love it is because I do think there's a chance that Columbia score within that opening 25 minutes, and then it changes the total outlook of the game where it could end on 5. But this is a team that has guys that are pretty accurate, right? John Arias, Luis Suarez, and Luis Diaz are really accurate shooters.
And I lied. I want to ask you one more from Jared Moreau and Adrian Flores because they're kind of correlated here. Actually, it's from Steve Folkerts and Adrian Flores. Ghana versus Panama, both teams to score even money. And then Steve says Ghana-Panama draw is plus 220. Your thoughts on either of those?
I don't think you can go wrong with either. I have 1-1 as my predicted score line. I took was it Panama plus 0.5 on the double chance when the line first came out. Thomas Partey is not going to be able to play in this tournament. He was denied his visa into Canada, and he is that holding midfielder that's going to be so important to the control of this Black Stars team. And I don't think they're that good already starting out. So 2 bad teams, draws, hard to split. Always think 1-1.
All right. Speaking of Marcel Petway, we got a good question about your Cubs, Sniper. How do we feel about the Cubs after their terrible performance last night on the run line at plus 104?
Not very good at all. Because it's just PCA has no help in the lineup, and this team continues to be one of the most prolific I've ever seen at leaving guys on base. It's unbelievable how many guys they leave on base. So no, I wouldn't really trust them. I mean, they should beat the Rockies by multiple runs. Absolutely. But I'm not trusting.
Mike, I thought I saw your hand up there. Oh, no. Okay, my bad. All right. Let's go to another baseball question. Gavin Williams over 17.5 outs at minus 129.
Yeah. So it's tough for me to trust a pitcher against the Brewers in Milwaukee. They're liable to just go crazy on him. And they're so good at scouting. They find ways to attack pitchers no matter what is going to hurt them the most. So I'm going to not do that one. I'm not going with this.
I've got a question for you. I didn't look enough at the MLB stuff to really know what I'm talking about here, but seeing Andrew Painter on the mound at home against Sandy Alcantara, any thoughts there? Because if you take the first 5 for the Marlins, it's in that minus 120 range.
Yeah, so I could see the Phillies hitting Alcantara, so I don't know about that. The one angle that Cheesy posted was to just take the Marlins team total. Then you fade Andrew Painter. You don't worry about if Alcantara gets touched up because the Phillies are pretty familiar with Alcantara. Bryce Harper has great career numbers against him. Kyle Schwarber's seen him a bunch. I could see them knocking him around.
All right, Brad, I want to go back to you before we bring up the home run chart because there's a lot of people asking about I think they're asking about Harry Kane today.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people ask about Harry Kane. And anytime you get Harry Kane at plus money to score a goal, I don't care who it's against. I don't care the circumstance. If he's playing the full complement of minutes, you have to take it, right? I do think it's going to be an unders game against Croatia, but at like plus 125, you have to take Harry Kane to score a goal. I did see someone about the shot on target. I do think you can play both, right? If you want to split a unit on them, because he's going to rip a few. And if he gets 2 on target and he doesn't score, you at least get a little bit of profit and basically your money back.
Speaking of unders, there was something about England, Croatia under 2.5 goals. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm on that under as well. I think this is going to be a 1-0, 2-0 kind of game. If Croatia score, it's going to be like the most boring 1-1 we've ever seen, right? This is Thomas Tuchel ball, where he likes these slow-paced matches with a lot of control. England, the best defensive record in the entire world. So under 2.5 in England games are going to be really nice unless they're just overmatched against an opponent.
I promise we're about to get to the home run chart, but Mike, I don't want to forget this question because it pertains to your Goddard up pick. It looks like J. Walter Weatherman, and by the way, the weather's going to be a concern, particularly tomorrow, Mike, if you want to weigh in there, but he has the option of Goddard up top 30 plus 115, or he's got an exact finishing position under 39.5 at minus 120. Your thoughts on which one he should take?
Yeah, I like the finishing position. Just those extra few spots are extremely valuable in this setup. So I would go under 39.5. The break even point on those two there, I would say, is probably around minus 125 to minus 127. So after that, I would then be on the top 30. But yes, if you've got the finishing position, which it does look like a couple places have it up now, 39.5, I would be on that under.
Do you have a read on the Thursday weather in particular? I know previously it looked like, at least a day or two ago, it looked like AM would have an advantage on Thursday. Does it look a little bit more hazy now, or it's still an AM advantage?
I'm going to run through it again here in a little bit, but I do think it is AM. I still prefer an AM start still. I think that part is pretty clear. And I do like that for Chris Goddard. I know that I've talked quite a bit about playing partners and things like that. I do like that he is paired with Cameron Young here.
Fair enough. All right, let's get to the home run chart. We do the home run chart. We do this Q&A. We do all our official picks every single Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock on the SportsLine YouTube channel. So if you're stumbling in here and you're new to this channel, make sure you are subscribed. And then while you're at it, go to sportsline.com/join to join the SportsLine community and the Discord. Top MLB home run plays, Sniper, Alec Burleson, James Wood, who is red hot, and Bryce Harper. Your thoughts?
We're very much on the same wavelength here. I had Cardinals against Griffin Canning lefty, but I listed JJ Weatherholt, so either one of those works. I had down James Wood in DC. I also have Jack Caglione on the other side in DC. And then in the Phillies game, I had Kyle Schwarber instead of Bryce Harper, but either one. And I mentioned Harper has great career numbers against Alcantara. Another one, I'm surprised nobody's brought it up. It might be because the Red Sox are so bad and you can't rely on them. As I'm surprised nobody's mentioned in the chat wanting to pick on Max Scherzer. Maybe Willie or Abreu in that one. That might be another one.
All right, Brad, let's see. We have something from Jeff Stenberg. Please tell me the Panamanians scored twice.
Maybe.
Plus 220.
You can fade Ghana like I'm doing because they're so bad. But I feel like at some point they're going to have to tighten up defensively. But we're going to see a lot of loose passes, a lot of lack of control in the midfield. So if they score twice, I'll be super happy because it correlates with my bet of double chance.
We have a question about first round leaders. And again, the weather could shift this a little bit. I did take AM guys though. Somebody was asking for Aaron Bailey was asking for my favorite first round leader. Now on the early wedge, I gave out 4. I gave out Tommy Fleetwood at 33-1. Not a super fun number for an FRL, but I do like Tommy Fleetwood this week. Patrick Reed, JJ Spawn, and Kurt Kitayama. If you want my favorite 2, it would probably be Patrick Reed at 46-1 as a first round leader and JJ Spawn at 53-1. Obviously I like all 4, but if you made me choose 2, it would be those 2. Let's see. Did we miss anything? Sniper, anything in the chat MLB related that we needed to get to? And then Calvin, I'm going to go to you on WNBA.
Yeah, there was NYC Born Est, White Sox and Cleveland money line. I would be on the opposite of both of those. I just, with the Guardians in Milwaukee, I'm not going to bet against the Brewers at all. And on the White Sox, the word of caution is, even though the White Sox looked great at home against the Braves and Dodgers last week, winning both of those series, which was amazing, something to worry about with young teams like the White Sox. Look at their home and road splits. They're 24-12 at home, 14-21 on the road. They got their teeth kicked in by the Yankees last night. I think you have to leave the White Sox alone on the road for now.
Mets first 3, says Moshi. First 3 is unique. Any thoughts on the Mets today, Sniper?
That's first three. Nolan McClain is in that one. It's tough to trust the Mets to score, even against Lodolo. But if there was a lean in the first three, you would think that the Mets, it could well be 0-0, though.
Calvin, I know WNBA is getting upstaged a little bit, specifically by the World Cup and perhaps the U.S. Open and MLB. But was there anything in the chat you needed to relate over to the podcast listeners who can't see the chat?
Yeah, so I also want to ask about Alyssa Thomas over 8.5 assists at plus 116. I mean, I don't hate that at plus 116. That's decent odds on, and she has been passing more lately. She's over in 3 straight. But facing the Aces, like as underdogs against their rival, this is kind of one of those type of games where she tends to become more of a scorer and look for her own shot more. And also the Aces just allow the second lowest assist rate in the league, so I would probably stay off that one.
Crispin says Patrick Reed, definitely a good pick. Oh, we'll take that. Brad, anything we left out soccer-wise or golf-wise that you wanted to address?
Yeah, I did want to say this. For anybody betting golf, I know a lot of people have asked questions, should they take a placement or should they take a finishing position? The scores are going to be really tight, right? It's going to be a really difficult golf course. When there's not a lot of separation on the leaderboard, you're always going to want to opt for finishing position instead of placement because of the dead heat rules. You can end up losing money if a guy finishes like T27 and you have a top 30. So just make sure you keep that in mind when it's ever going to be a congested leaderboard at low scoring venues. You want to opt for finishing position over placement unless you have ties included.
Mike, any thoughts there?
Yeah, pretty much would echo everything that Brad said there. Generally going to prefer the finishing position, like the individual over-under on the player. Yep.
All right. Well, there's going to be a lot more U.S. Open to talk about tomorrow. We're going to have round matchups. We'll maybe talk about live betting. I do think, Brad, you'd agree that there's probably some live betting opportunities with so many pitfalls on this course and wind conditions and bad waves and things of that nature. Like, I'm already betting a lot of outrights, more outrights than I normally bet, which I don't love. So I might not have a live outright, but you'd agree with me. There's a probably pretty good opportunity for a live outright in this one.
There's going to be a really good opportunity, hopefully. And what I really like to do in these tournaments, so I only have 3 outrights so far. I might add a 4th. What I like to do is if there's a guy who's just not quite at the number where I think there's value, you pray that he's either starting later in the AM wave or a PM guy, and someone in AM just goes berserk because then it'll shift the number slightly, and you could get an extra $5 of value.
100% true. Mike, follow up before we get to the recap screen.
No real follow up there. Honestly, everything Brad's saying is dead on.
All right. Absolutely love to see it. All right. Let's see the recap screen. We'll get everybody out of here. Another reminder, make sure you're subscribed to the SportsLine YouTube channel. U.S. Open Top Korean. This is a 72-hole tournament bet here. Top Korean, top in region. Siwoo Kim minus 132. Buckets was on the show earlier. Go back. If you came in late, go back and listen to what Buckets had to say about Louis Diaz to score or assist at minus 120. And England team total over 1.5 at plus 100. Then we move to Chris Goddard up top 30, including ties at minus 108 from Mike McClure. And a make the cut parlay, Bryson and Ludwig minus 101. MLB, Kyle Schwarber, 3+ hits, runs, RBIs at plus 128. And PCA, that's Pete Crow Armstrong, over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 108. We go to Brad Thomas, Portugal versus DR Congo. Ronaldo, anytime goal score at minus 130. And Colombia versus Uzbekistan, under 2.5 at minus 115. And Brad dabbling in some U.S. Open today as well. Xander Schauffele, top 20, minus 110. Sabrina Ionescu, over 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 117. That, of course, from Calvin Wetzel. And at the beginning of the show, we gave out a couple of SportsLine picks, and they are from Martin Green, Portugal, minus 1.5 at minus 109. And prop bet guy likes Shohei on the mound tonight, Ohtani, over 5.5 Ks at minus 148. And look, Buckets is already off Galazzo, and he's in the chat right now. What a great show. Thanks for everybody for being in here, participating, getting in the YouTube comments with positivity, in the chat with your questions. Absolutely love to see it. Thank you, Brad Thomas. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Calvin. And a huge thank you to Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Can't wait to do this again, ladies and gentlemen. For now, just for now, we rest our case.